Dubai, February the 9th, 2025. The city skyline burns bright against the midnight sky. A $50 million mansion in Palm Jumeirah is alive. Luxury cars rumble in. Models draped in designer dresses sip champagne. The bass from the speaker shakes the walls. This is the dream. Samuel and Ruben Onuha, self-made millionaires, sculpted from relentless ambition and hours in the gym, stand at the centre of it all. Sharp jawlines, designer suits hugging their athletic frames, confidence radiating with every smirk. They built their empire from nothing, flaunting their wealth on TikTok, proving to the world that success was all come crashing down. A single phone call, flashing lights, a raid that no one saw coming. By morning, the Onuha brothers will go from kings of social media to prisoners in Dubai's ruthless legal system. And the worst part? They never saw it coming. Guess what the real kicker is? It wasn't just bad luck. It was a setup so precise they never even had a chance. Someone set them up. Someone who was quite near the party. Very unexpected. But to understand how two young men went from TikTok famous entrepreneurs to sitting in a Dubai jail cell, we need to go back to where it all began. Because this wasn't just a wild party gone wrong. It was the unravelling of a story they had carefully built. They didn't make millions from social media, but they used it to sell the illusion. The real money, according to them, came from masterminding e-commerce and dropshipping, from building a fashion empire, not chasing clout. But here's the question. Were they brilliant businessmen, or just brilliant at pretending to be? To find out, we need to look past the filters, past the flex, and get to the core of who they really were. So, who were the Onuha brothers? This is who they are. Two Dutch superstars who flaunted their wealth to millions, jet-setting across the world in private jets, spending like kings on Louis Vuitton, Hermes and Rolex, turning luxury into their brand. Samuel and Ruben Onuha, two handsome brothers who didn't just build an empire, they lived it. From Dubai to Amsterdam, their lives were the highlight reel of designer shopping sprees, luxury yachts and five-star resorts. Every post, every TikTok was a carefully created glimpse into the high life they wanted the world to see. At just 18 years old, while still sitting in a classroom, Samuel Onuha wasn't just curious about making money, he was obsessed. While others were focused on exams and college applications, he was already manifesting a life far beyond the ordinary. A 9 to 5? A degree? He didn't just reject that path, he never even considered it. What consumed him was something far more unconventional. Building wealth online and building it big. Back then, it wasn't as popular. It wasn't even respected. People laughed at the idea, dismissed it as a scam, and told him he was wasting his time.
Nobody believed in what I was doing. They all looked at me with that strange face. Yeah, okay, do what you do. So I had to, man. I had to.
They said it would fail. But for Samuel, failure wasn't an option. If anything, the criticism only fueled him more. The moment he saw his first taste of success, he didn't hesitate. In fact, he was already in his final year at ROC studying marketing and communications when he told his mother he wanted to quit. She didn't agree at all, he recalled, but in the end, she let me take a kind of gap year, if I could arrange it with the school. Just a belief that he could prove everyone wrong. And according to him, it was the best decision of his life. But was it? Because what happened next would change everything. Samuel, now 25, and Ruben, 23, hail from a small village in the north of the Netherlands. Their journey began when Samuel ventured into the world of e-commerce, laying the foundation for what would become a real global fashion phenomenon. His early ventures included teeth whitening kits and Fortnite headsets, most of which failed. He described it as an obsession. I once dreamed I sold something, woke up and grabbed my laptop, only to see that I hadn't sold anything at all. At the centre of it all was Samuel, the older brother, who never missed an opportunity to remind his audience of his journey. I wasn't born rich, he said. I grew up in a small village with nothing. It was the perfect narrative, relatable, inspiring, and most importantly, marketable, but their roots tell a different story. Samuel and Ruben didn't grow up in the glow of Dubai skylines or the luxury of private jets. Their roots trace back to Wieringen, a quiet fishing village near the north of the Netherlands. It's a place where most boys their age go out to sea during the week and spend weekends at home. For many, fishing was the future, and for a while it looked like it might be theirs too. That life, as Samuel once said, was instilled in me from an early age. But their path shifted the moment their mother, Ruben Onuha, became the mayor of the village. A woman of Nigerian and Mexican descent, Carmen was more than just a public figure. She was the centre of their world. Strong-willed and fiercely independent, she balanced the demands of leadership with raising 2 sons, teaching them that success wasn't something you inherited, it was something you earned. Samuel often credits her with his resilience. "I'm stubborn," he once said, "just like my mother." She knew struggle firsthand, but she refused to let it define her or her sons. But their father, that's where things get complicated. For most of their childhood, he wasn't around. Samuel has openly spoken about growing up without a strong father figure, a void that shaped his hunger for control, power and success. In fact, he once documented his first reunion with his father in 12 years, a moment that hinted at a past filled with distance and unanswered questions. Without a stable father figure, Samuel stepped up. He wasn't just Ruben's older brother, he became the leader, the one who had to figure it all out. And maybe that's why he was so obsessed with proving himself, with building something bigger than the life they were given. Watching the local boys earn serious money out at sea while he scraped by washing dishes pushed him to dream bigger, to find another way out. Frustrated, Samuel searched for answers the way any teen would. On Google, he stumbled across a video of a 17-year-old making money online by selling products, and he thought, if he can do it, I can do it too. And he did. But it wasn't the sea that called him, it was the internet. But here's the thing about success. It doesn't just change you, it also changes the people around you. And as the Onuha brothers climbed higher, the weight of their past began to crack their perfect facade. And this leads to the biggest question of all. Was it real? Because when you look closer, things start to shift. The timelines, the claims, the image they projected versus the reality behind it. And that's where the real story begins. But Samuel was not just looking for a way out, he was looking for a way up. And in 2018, he found it, the blueprint for an empire that would change everything. With a bold idea and a hunger for success, he and Ruben launched Icon Amsterdam, a brand that wouldn't just change their lives, it would redefine the men's fashion industry. And they didn't just succeed, they dominated. Icon Amsterdam wasn't just some small startup scraping by, it was a global powerhouse. In just a few short years, the brand sold over 500,000 pairs of trousers, becoming a go-to label for men with athletic builds. Their collections weren't just popular, they were a movement. Their breakout idea? Muscle-fit pants for guys who struggled to find trousers that actually fit their frame. And it wasn't just everyday customers who noticed. Big names like kickboxing champion Rico Verhoeven and YouTube star Vitaly Dorovetsky were seen wearing Icon Amsterdam, helping them turn the brand from a niche idea into a full-blown movement. And the numbers? Unreal. Icon Amsterdam's annual revenue soared into the 8-figure range, putting them in a league with some of the biggest names in fashion. But this wasn't luck, it was strategy. The Onuha brothers knew exactly how to build hype. Within their first month, he sold over 1,000 pairs. An amount of money came in that I'd never seen before, Samuel said. Their secret weapon? Social media. While traditional fashion houses clung to old-school marketing, Samuel and Ruben rewrote the rules, and won big. They turned Instagram into their personal empire, collaborating with influencers, running high-converting ads and crafting a luxury aesthetic that everyone wanted to be a part of. And it worked. Their customer base didn't just buy once, 40% of them came back for more. And as their influence grew, so did their empire. They were untouchable. 2 brothers from a tiny Dutch village had built a multi-million-dollar empire in record time. They had the money, the success, the luxury lifestyle. But here's the thing about building an empire at lightning speed. The higher you climb, the harder you fall. Last year, Samuel Onuha tweeted that he went from $6 million to $20 million, an unbelievable figure for two young entrepreneurs fresh out of school. Samuel had already dropped out to go all in, and Ruben soon followed, joining him as a full-time business partner. While their exact financials couldn't always be verified, one thing was certain: they were making serious money. But behind the flashy success, shadows were already forming. The empire they built wasn't just rising fast, it was walking in a dangerous line, and soon it would cross it. Legal trouble wasn't just new to the Onuha brothers. Early on, they faced a copyright dispute over one of their products, a legal hiccup that could have derailed their momentum. But back then, it was just a business setback, one they manoeuvred past without real consequences. This time, they wouldn't be so lucky. In 2022, Icon Amsterdam was pulling big numbers. Ruben officially stepped in as Chief Operating Officer, solidifying their empire. But as their wealth grew, so did their risks. But success wasn't just measured in numbers, it was in lifestyle. With more money than ever, the brothers started spending time in Dubai, a city synonymous with wealth, luxury and power. But what they didn't know was that this very city, the symbol of their success, would soon become the setting for their downfall. Because behind the towering skyscrapers and golden sands, something was brewing. And when the truth finally surfaced, Dubai's luxury wouldn't be their escape, it would be their trap. Stick with us as we uncover the secrets behind their dirty success. A lavish villa in Emirates Hills became their new base, rumoured to be a $50 million mansion. Private jets, supercars and endless nights in Dubai's most elite circles became a regular feature in their content. And it wasn't just for show. Dubai's zero income tax and booming expat business scene made it the perfect place for entrepreneurs like them. Their influence extended beyond fashion. They became idols for entrepreneurs, a blueprint for young hustlers and social media icons whose every word carried weight. But here's the thing about building an empire at this speed: it makes enemies. And for Samuel and Ruben, these enemies were much closer than they ever realised. At this point, the Onuha brothers weren't just successful entrepreneurs, they were celebrities. By 2023, Samuel and Ruben were everywhere. Magazine features, high-profile podcasts and viral YouTube interviews, all painting them as the new kings of digital business. IP Times even called their journey a meteoric rise. But when you shine this brightly, people start looking closer. By late 2023, the whispers began. People started asking, was this all real? How did two young men selling mid-range fashion afford the mega mansion, a fleet of supercars, and a lifestyle that rivaled billionaires? Various Reddit users also criticised their fake and rental private jets. At first, it was just speculation. Online critics threw around theories, money laundering, crypto schemes, illicit side businesses, but there was no proof. And the Onuhas? They just laughed it off. They called their doubters haters, jealous nobodies who couldn't handle seeing two young guys win. Samuel especially was vocal. His responses were dismissive, even arrogant. They'd worked for this, they'd built everything themselves. What should they care what some online trolls think? But here's the thing about rumours: they don't just disappear. By late 2024, the Onuha brothers had fully embedded themselves in Dubai's high society. Endless nightclub appearances, yacht parties and exclusive private events. It was a constant public display of power and untouchability. But what they didn't know was that they weren't just being watched by their followers. Authorities were watching too. Dubai authorities had received intelligence. The Onuhas weren't just influencers with a fashion brand. They were allegedly connected to something much bigger. Sources later suggest that undercover surveillance had been monitoring them for weeks, maybe even months. And while the details remain murky, some reports hinted at associations with organised crime circles, both in Dubai and Europe. At first, it was just whispers. Soon, it would become much more. Remember that party we talked about at the start? The wild night in Dubai, the flashing lights, the flowing champagne, the moment where Samuel and Ruben Onuha were living it off. Well, this is where all the dots connected, because that night wasn't just a party, it was a trap, and the Onuha brothers never saw it coming. It was February the 9th, 2025, just another extravagant night at the Onuha brothers' Dubai mansion. Supercars lined the driveway, music blasted through the villa, and VIP guests filled every corner. This was not just a party, it was a statement, a declaration that they had made it. But here's what they didn't know. By the early hours of February the 10th, the celebration would spiral into disaster. It started with a complaint, but who made it remains a mystery. Neighbours, fed up with the loud music and non-stop chaos, called the police. Dubai authorities, known for their zero-tolerance policies, responded swiftly. But when they arrived at the villa, they didn't just find a rowdy party. They found something much worse. Police discovered a significant quantity of illegal substances inside the mansion. Narcotics. Dubai police immediately locked down the scene, questioning guests and searching the property. And this is where things take a shocking turn. And it wasn't just anyone. The rumour, the Onuha brothers didn't pay the Colombian escorts at the party. A dispute over money led them to contact Dubai police and reveal the presence of illegal substances inside the villa. A Twitter account shared that multiple escorts filed a complaint exposing the stash of illicit substances in retaliation. Others suggest an anonymous call from inside the party. But one thing is clear, this raid wasn't an accident. The truth is, no one knows for sure who made the call. With no official confirmation, the real trigger behind the police raid remains a mystery. The Onuha brothers were trapped now, and within minutes, the dream life the Onuha brothers had built up came crashing down. The Onuha brothers built a glossy empire, flaunting their success on social media and living like kings in Dubai. But on February the 10th, 2025, it all came crashing down. In the early hours of the morning, Dubai police made their move. It was not a random raid. It was a swift, precise and deadly serious. The General Department of Criminal Investigation had been watching, and now they were done waiting. Officers stormed their $50 million villa before the brothers could react, and it was over. Samuel and Ruben Onuha were placed under arrest on the spot. As police searched the property, they seized the narcotics found at the scene, a quantity significant enough to turn this from a party bust into a major narcotics case. But here's where things got strange. Despite the arrests, there was no immediate statement. Dubai authorities were silent. No details, no charges, nothing publicly confirmed. And then, just like that, the Onuha brothers disappeared. Their social media went dark, the accounts remained, but the updates stopped. It was as if their online empire had collapsed overnight. For years, Samuel had shared every moment of his life, from private jets to motivational speeches. But now, nothing. No Instagram stories, no posts, silence. And in the digital age, silence is the loudest alarm, and people noticed. By mid-February, speculation started swirling. Some believed the brothers had gone into hiding, while others whispered about a secret detention. The truth? They were locked inside Dubai's legal system. No one knows exactly where they are. People have different speculations. Some think that they are in Bur Dubai police station, while one of the Redditors commented that they might be at Al Barsha police station. Behind the scenes, Dutch consular officials were quietly informed that the two Dutch nationals had been arrested. But the Onuha family? They weren't talking. No requests for legal aid, no statements, just total silence. In early March, there were only rumours leaking everywhere. Everyone had a different theory. And then, on March the 5th, the final confirmation bombshell dropped. African news site GH Page ran a shocking headline. Popular online motivational speakers arrested for smuggling narcotics in Dubai. 250 kilograms of narcotics. According to the report, the Onuha brothers weren't just influencers, they were key players in a massive underground narcotics operation. Suddenly, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok exploded with speculation. People who once admired the brothers were now dissecting their past. Was it all a scam? Was their wealth real? Or had they been laundering money all along? And then, on March the 10th, 2025, the Dutch media confirmed it. RTL Boulevard, one of the biggest entertainment news shows in the Netherlands, reported that multiple sources verified Samuel and Ruben Onuha were detained in Dubai on serious narcotic-related charges. The next day, De Telegraaf, the Netherlands' largest newspaper, ran the story. No more speculation, no more rumours. It was official. By March the 11th, the internet was ablaze. The Onuha brothers, once icons of success, luxury and self-made wealth, were now sitting inside a Dubai jail, facing a future no one had seen coming. Their meteoric rise had just taken a few years. Their downfall, just one night. But here's the real question. What exactly were they charged with? Dubai isn't just strict on crime, it's ruthless. And in a country where offences involving illegal substances come with some of the harshest penalties in the world, Samuel and Ruben weren't just facing a scandal, they were facing a nightmare. As of mid-March 2025, Dubai authorities have not officially disclosed the exact charges. No names have been released, no detailed statements from police. But the evidence? It all points to something massive. Multiple reports from Nigerian outlets, Dutch media and international gossip sites claim that the brothers were arrested for smuggling an estimated 250 kilograms of illegal substances into Dubai. Let that sink in. We're not talking about simple possession. We're not even talking about a party bust. If these allegations hold, this is a full-scale illegal substance trafficking case. And in Dubai, that changes everything. The UAE's narcotics laws are amongst the harshest in the world. Even small amounts of illegal substances can land someone in prison for years. But 250 kilograms? That's not just illegal, that's an international crime. And in the UAE, possession or distributing such a large quantity of narcotics can lead to life imprisonment or even the death penalty. If the Onuha brothers are found guilty, they're looking at up to 25 years behind bars, a quarter of a century. From Instagram fame to possible lifelong prison sentence. And here's the twist. Dubai police aren't talking. The CID has refused to answer reporters' inquiries. No leaks, no updates, just silence. Some believe this is due to Ramadan, when the government communications slow down, while others think the authorities are keeping their cards close for a reason. All that's been confirmed is this. A major bust involving prohibitive substances occurred. 2 European nationals are in custody, and the Onuha brothers haven't been seen or heard from since. And in a system as ruthless as Dubai's, silence is never a good sign. In Dubai, the law doesn't bend, it breaks you. And for Samuel and Ruben Onuha, the charges they are facing don't just carry heavy sentences, they carry life-altering consequences. We've already established the magnitude of the case. 250 kilograms of controlled substance, allegations of smuggling. In almost any country this would be serious, and in the UAE it's catastrophic. Authorities in Dubai have not disclosed full details of the charges, but given the scale of the case, 250 kilograms of coke, the stakes are high. Under UAE law, trafficking in controlled substances can result in severe penalties, including life imprisonment or even the death penalty in extreme cases. While rarely enforced, a life sentence is almost certain if convicted. If prosecutors link the Onuha brothers to a larger network, this case would escalate into an international crime investigation. And with Dubai's strict laws, bail is not an option. For non-citizens facing serious narcotic charges in Dubai, bail is almost unheard of. Samuel and Ruben are stuck. Their case is still in the pre-trial investigative stage, which means they are being held as police and prosecutors gather more evidence. They aren't going anywhere. Even the Dutch embassy, which would normally step in to monitor their legal situation, has remained distant. The brothers haven't requested Dutch legal assistance. They're facing this case alone, deep inside a legal system where the rules are strict and the consequences are brutal. And the most bizarre part? No one even knows who their lawyer is. In high-profile cases like this, a defence team usually comes forward, making statements trying to control the narrative. But here, nothing. No legal updates, no official defence, just an unsettling absence of information. Which raises one chilling question. If they were given the chance, would they even fight? Or is this the moment they realise they've lost everything? This case is not just about Dubai, it's about something much bigger. A global network of crime, money and power. Up until now, the legal nightmare has been unfolding within the UAE's strict system. But behind the scenes, this case has sent ripples across international borders. Because when 250 kilograms of narcotics appears in Dubai, it didn't just get there by accident. And now, investigators are asking the most pressing question of all. Who else was involved? The Onuha brothers are Dutch citizens, and this raises some serious flags. The Netherlands is one of Europe's largest narcotic gateways, with major trafficking routes flowing through the ports of Rotterdam and Antwerp. Some reports suggest that the illegal substances found in Dubai may have originated from Amsterdam. If that's true, who else was part of this operation? A crime of this scale doesn't just happen in isolation. One Reddit user summed it up perfectly. Ego and clout chasing is one hell of a drug, but well done to Dubai police and escorts for their collaboration. This hints at something bigger, a possibility that this was not just a random bust. The fact that the Dubai authorities responded so swiftly and that the escorts allegedly tipped them off suggests that this could have been part of a larger coordinated effort. Was this just about one night, or had the Onuha brothers allegedly already been on police radar long before the party even began? Because if we look at the bigger picture, there's a possibility that the Onuha brothers weren't just reckless party hosts. They could have been key players in a much larger trafficking network, moving illegal substances from Europe to the UAE. Some reports have already suggested the narcotics found at their Dubai mansion may have originated from Amsterdam. If the brothers were involved in smuggling operations, this wasn't just about personal use. It was about transporting high-value contraband across international borders. The way they flaunted their lifestyle, endless yacht parties, supercars, private jets, may not just have been about showing off their success. It may have been a cover, a smokescreen for something far more dangerous. And the moment they failed to pay the wrong people, their empire collapsed. Were the Onuha brothers just unlucky victims of circumstance, or had an international investigation been closing in on them for months, leading to their inevitable arrest? And this isn't just speculation. Dutch authorities have a vested interest in international illicit trade cases, and in recent months they've cracked down on multiple trafficking networks operating from Europe. If this case ties back to Dutch criminals, it won't just be Dubai looking for answers. If evidence connects this case to Dutch soil, through airport shipments, known traffickers or financial ties, Interpol cooperation is inevitable. And the timing? Interesting. Just a few months ago, authorities in Dubai apprehended Othman El Balouti, a Belgian national implicated in extensive international narcotics operations. Dutch police have been cracking down on high-level traffickers hiding out in the UAE, and now, with the Onuhas in custody, it looks like Dubai is no longer a safe haven. Right now, the UAE is handling the case, but the bigger the investigation gets, the more global players will get involved. Because if Samuel and Ruben Onuha were part of an international smuggling network, they weren't just influencers with a business. They were playing in a world far more dangerous than they ever imagined. And just like that, the story of the Onuha brothers goes from flashy Instagram dream to a real-life cautionary tale. Two young men who built an empire, whether from fashion, fraud, or something far more dangerous, now face the harshest reality of them all, a Dubai prison. A legal battle that could cost them decades and the slow, painful collapse of everything they once flaunted.